The check fluttered to the cracked linoleum floor like a dead leaf in autumn wind, and signed and mocking, amount, $47,000, staring up at Fred Harlan from where it lay beside his empty wallet. He clutched the edge of the kitchen table in his modest ranch house on the outskirts of Omaha, Nebraska, the kind of place where cornfields whispered secrets to the endless sky, and his heart hammered not from the theft, but from the betrayal etched in his son's scrawled note. Dad, I had to. She needs this life. Don't make it harder. Johnny, his only boy, the flesh of his flesh, hadn't just stolen his pension. He'd ripped open the closet door Fred had finally cracked after decades of silence, exposing the love he'd buried deeper than any Midwest winter. Fred's knees buckled, and he sank into the sagging armchair that still smelled faintly of his late wife's lavender soap, though she'd been gone 15 years now. The house, with its faded wallpaper and photos of a perfect family, smiling poses that hid the truth, felt like a tomb. He'd come out at 62, after her death, whispering his secret to the mirror one whiskey-soaked night, then shouting it to the stars. And now, this Johnny, 38 and drowning in bad choices, had siphoned every cent from Fred's retirement account, all for that viper of a girlfriend, Carla, whose homophobic rants Fred had endured at holiday dinners like poison darts wrapped in small talk. But it was the grandson, little Tommy, Johnny's boy, 13 going on ancient, who would turn the knife. Tommy, with his mop of unruly brown hair and eyes that saw too much, had slipped into the house that very afternoon, backpack slung over one shoulder, and found his grandfather crumpled like yesterday's news. "Grandpa Fred," he said, voice steady as a summer storm, "they're gonna pay. All of it. I swear on the stars you taught me to wish on." Fred Harlan had always been a man of quiet storms. Born in 1948, in the shadow of Eisenhower's America, he'd grown up on a farm outside Lincoln, where boys wrestled in haylofts and no one dared name the electric buzz that lingered after. He'd married Ellen at 22, a sweet girl with cornflower eyes and a laugh like wind chimes, because that's what you did. They built a life, 2 kids, a split-level house in the suburbs, Sunday pot roasts that steamed up the windows. Johnny came first, squalling and red-faced, then a daughter, Sarah, who flew the coop early for nursing school in Denver. Ellen's cancer hit like a freight train in '09, chemo gnawing her down to bones and whispers, and Fred nursed her through it all, holding her hand while his own secrets festered like untreated wounds. After the funeral, the house echoed. Fred sold the big place, downsized to this bungalow on Elm Street, where the neighbors waved from riding mowers and the library hosted book clubs on Tuesdays. Retirement from the auto parts plant meant long days fishing the Platte River, casting lines into waters that reflected his unraveling soul. That's when he met David. David Riley, 58, a widower himself, though his wife had been a cover too, a kind woman who'd passed from a stroke, with salt and pepper hair, laugh lines etched deep from years of hidden heartaches, and hands that felt like home when they brushed Fred's in the aisles of the local Gay-Straight Alliance meeting at the community center. It started innocently enough. Coffee after the meeting, black for Fred, latte for David, at a diner off Dodge Street where the hash browns were greasy perfection and the waitress called everyone Han. They talked Eisenhower, Vietnam drafts they dodged by sheer luck, and the ache of loving in silence. "I knew at 12, David confessed one rainy afternoon, their knees touching under the Formica table. Fell for the neighbor boy during summer ball. Kept it locked tighter than Fort Knox." Fred nodded, throat tight, and spilled his own, the farmhand's stolen kiss behind the barn, the guilt that choked him through vows and births. By spring, they were lovers. Stolen weekends at David's cabin up in the Sandhills, where dunes rolled like ocean waves under Nebraska's big sky. They'd lie naked on flannel sheets, bodies weathered but eager, tracing scars, Fred's from a shop accident, David's from a bar fight in Namera, San Francisco. "You're my horizon," David murmured once, breath hot against Fred's neck, as they watched coyotes yip at the moon. It was romance stripped bare, no Hollywood gloss, just two old souls finding harbor after lifetimes adrift. Fred's pension checks, modest but steady from 35 years at the plant, kept them afloat. Road trips to the Badlands, dinners at that Italian joint in Council Bluffs where the marinara sang of garlic and sin. Johnny hated it all. He'd always been the wild one, dropping out of community college for odd jobs, bartending, then sales that paid just enough for beer and bravado. Divorced twice, with Tommy as the lone bright spot, a kid who collected comic books and asked questions that pierced like arrows. "Grandpa, why do you look sad when Dad talks about Mom?" Johnny met Carla 3 years back. A bleach-blonde realtor from Lincoln with a laugh like shattering glass and opinions sharper than switchblades. She slithered into family gatherings, cooing over Sarah's kids while side-eyeing Fred's friend David. "Men like that," she'd hiss when she thought Fred wasn't listening, "they corrupt everything. It's unnatural, Johnny. Drains the soul right out." Fred saw the rot early. Johnny, desperate for approval after his exes fled his tempers, lapped it up. Carla dangled a life of McMansions and SUV leases, the American dream repackaged as toxicity. "Your dad's got money sitting there," she'd whisper over takeout pizza, her nails drumming the table like war beats. "Pension from the plant, untouched since Ellen. Why let it gather dust while we're scraping by?" Johnny resisted at first, loyalty flickering like a faulty bulb. But Carla's barbs about Fred, living that lifestyle, 's a phase, huh? "He'll thank you when you save him," wore him down. One night, buzzed on cheap bourbon, Johnny logged into Fred's online bank portal, password Ellen 1947, a detail he'd wheedled out years ago for emergencies. The transfer hit on a Tuesday, $47,000 vanishing into Carla's account for a down payment on a condo in West Omaha, the kind with granite counters and views of nothing but regret. Johnny left the note, and signed check, and a half-hearted voicemail. "Dad, it's for the best. Call me when you're over it." He didn't wait for the fallout. He and Carla jetted to Vegas for a celebration. Tommy dumped at a Sitters with $20 and a promise of arcade games later. Tommy Harlan was no ordinary kid. 13. He was all limbs and curiosity, devouring books on civil rights from the school library's Stonewall, loving v. Virginia, the quiet revolutions that shaped his grandpa's hidden world. He'd overheard Carla's slurs at Thanksgiving, the way her voice dripped venom when David complimented Fred's pie. Fairy baking, how quaint. Tommy didn't know the word homophobic then, but he felt its sting, saw how it dimmed Fred's eyes like storm clouds over the Platte. He loved his dad. Sure, Johnny's roughhousing and bedtime stories of pirate adventures. But cracks had formed. Missed soccer games, the way Johnny's temper flared over nothing, blaming the world's bullshit, while Carla smirked in the background. That afternoon, school bus rumbling to a stop on Elm, Tommy bounded up the porch steps. Key Fred had given him under a flower pot for emergencies. The door creaked open to silence, broken only by a sob from the kitchen. He found Fred there, note in hand, face carved from grief. "Grandpa!" Tommy dropped his backpack, comic of Captain America spilling out. Ironic, the hero fighting for justice. Fred looked up, eyes red-rimmed, and tried a smile that cracked like dry earth. "Hey, slugger. Rough day." Tommy read the note, pieced it together faster than a puzzle. His small fists clenched. "Dad did this? For her?" Fred nodded, voice gravel. "Blood's thicker than water, Tom. But sometimes it cuts deeper." The boy paced, mind whirring. He'd hacked the family router last summer. Curiosity about parental controls and new passwords, patterns. "We fixed this," he declared, pulling out his cracked iPhone, thumbs flying. "Not with fists. With facts." What followed was a whirlwind only a kid with internet at his fingertips could unleash. Tommy started small, screenshots of the bank transfer, time-stamped from Johnny's IP at their apartment. He emailed Sarah in Denver. "Aunt Sar. Emergency. Dad stole Grandpa's money. Proof attached." Knowing her no-nonsense nurse's heart would rally. Then, deeper. Digging into Carla's social media, unearthing posts railing against the gay agenda, in all caps, tagged with local realtor boards. "This is gold," Tommy muttered, Fred watching in awe as the boy navigated forums like a digital pirate. But Tommy's masterstroke was personal. He confronted Johnny that night, slipping into the apartment while Carla preened for a girls' night out. Johnny, hung over on the couch, TV blaring a Broncos game, blinked at his son. "Kiddo, what are you? You stole from Grandpa," Tommy said, voice flat as Nebraska plains. He held up his phone, transfer confirmation glowing. Johnny paled, stammered, "It's family business, Tom. Adults handle. Adults don't lie." Tommy's eyes, so like Fred's, hardened. "Carla hates him 'cause he's gay. Like Grandpa David. You know that." Johnny flinched, but Carla's voice echoed from the bedroom. "Tell the brat to beat it, Johnny. Little shit's trouble." The boy didn't flinch. "I'm telling the paper. And the bank. And everyone." It wasn't bluff. By dawn, Tommy had drafted an anonymous tip to the Omaha World Herald's ethics line. Local realtor uses stolen elder funds, homophobic motive, with redacted proofs, enough to spark questions without naming names yet. Word spread like prairie fire. Sarah arrived by noon the next day, rental car screeching into the drive, hugging Fred fierce while Tommy beamed from the porch. "You little warrior," she whispered, ruffling his hair. David showed too, from the cabin, bringing pie and quiet strength, his arm around Fred's shoulders as they watched the news van pull up Elm Street. Johnny called, panicked, "Dad, Tom, he's blowing this up. Carla's freaking. The office is asking questions." Fred's voice, steady for the first time in days. "You chose, son. Now face it." The scandal hit page 3. Elder financial abuse allegations rock local family. Realtor under scrutiny. Carla's posts resurfaced. Viral on Twitter X. Whatever they called it now, outraging the city's growing LGBTQ+ community. Protests brewed outside her office, rainbow flags waving under overcast skies. Johnny, cornered, confessed to the bank. Restitution ordered. Full amount plus fees. Wired back within a week. But the real price was steeper. Carla bolted, luggage in tow, to her sister's in Sioux City, leaving Johnny with eviction notices and a hollow apartment. Tommy's reckoning came softer. Over burgers at Johnny's diner, irony thick as the patties. Fred sat with his son, David across the booth nursing coffee. "Why, Johnny?" Fred asked, Not anger, but ache. Johnny stared at his plate, grease shining like tears. She said it was saving you. From him. A nod to David, who met it even. From happiness, the older man replied gently. Son, love isn't a theft. It's the only thing worth giving away. Johnny broke then, sobs shaking his frame, apologies tumbling like loose change. Tommy reached across, small hand on his dad's. We fix it together. No more secrets. It wasn't absolution instant. Therapy followed, court mandated for Johnny, family sessions where Carla's ghost lingered but faded. Fred and David married that summer in the backyard. Simple vows under the oak Ellen had planted. Tommy as best man in a too-big suit, reciting lines about justice and hearts mended. Yet the story didn't end in tidy bows. Johnny relapsed once, a bar fight landing him in lockup, but Tommy visited, comics in hand, reminding him of Captain America's code. Fred's pension rebuilt slowly, supplemented by David's woodwork sales, birdhouses that sold at farmers' markets, each one a tiny home for souls adrift. The Harlan name became a quiet legend in Omaha, the gay dad who loved fierce, the son who strayed and returned, the grandson who wielded truth like a shield. In the end, as autumn painted the fields gold, Fred and David walked the Platte at dusk, hands linked, Tommy skipping stones ahead. You made us pay, Fred called to the boy, who grinned back, splash echoing. Worth every cent, Grandpa, and in that ripple, family reformed, not perfect, but whole, under America's vast, forgiving sky. The days blurred after the theft like watercolor in rain, each one leaching color from Fred's world until the bungalow on Elm felt less like sanctuary and more like a sieve, draining him dry. He wandered its rooms ghost-like, fingers trailing dust on Ellen's old china hutch, pausing at photos where Johnny grinned gap-toothed at 5, fishing pole dwarfing him. How had that boy eager, affectionate, twisted into the man who'd gut his father for a woman's whim? David tried to anchor him, showing up with grocery bags heavy with Fred's favorites. Walleye from the market, crusty bread from the German bakery downtown. Eat, Harlan, he'd say, voice rough as sandpaper but tender, plating dinner at the scarred oak table. They'd eat in near silence, forks scraping, until David's foot nudged Fred's under the table, a Morse code of solidarity. Nights were worse. Fred lay awake, ceiling fan whirring like accusatory whispers, replaying Johnny's voicemail, the slurred justification, Carla's laugh faint in the background like hyena cackle. He'd rise at dawn, brew coffee black as regret, and stare out at the backyard where the swing set rusted from disuse. Tommy's swings, abandoned since the divorce. The boy had always been Fred's light. Weekends building forts from cardboard, stories of knights and dragons where the hero saved the day not with swords, but secrets shared. Grandpa, what's the bravest thing? Tommy asked once, age 8, nestled on the porch swing. Fred hesitated. Then, loving who you are, even when the world says no. The kid nodded solemn, as if filing it for later use. Tommy's plan unfolded with the precision of a kid who'd mainlined too many spy novels. After alerting Sarah, he turned to the digital underbelly, Reddit threads on elder fraud, Quora posts from victims who'd clawed back justice. We need leverage, he told Fred over Cocoa Puffs that morning, milk mustache defiant. Not just money. Shame. Fred chuckled despite himself, the sound rusty. You're 13. Not Machiavelli. But the boy was relentless. drafting emails to the Nebraska Department of Banking, polite but pointed, attachments redacted for his age. Minor reporting suspected theft from grandfather's retirement account. Evidence enclosed. By evening, ripples hit. The bank froze Johnny's access. A courtesy call to Fred confirming irregular activity. He didn't answer. Let it stew. David arrived then, sensing the storm, and they retreated to the den. Plush couch facing the TV, but screens off. David's kisses were bomb. Slow and sure. Hands mapping Fred's body like Braille, reminding him of worth beyond dollars. "You're not defined by this," he murmured against Fred's collarbone. Stubble grazing skin. They made love there, urgent yet gentle, the world shrinking to breaths and touches. Climax a quiet thunder that chased shadows for hours. Sarah's arrival shattered the hush. She burst through the door at 2 p.m. Scrubs swapped for jeans and a hoodie, hugging Tommy first, my hero detective. Then Fred, her embrace fierce as a lifeline. "Tell me everything," she demanded, settling at the kitchen table with coffee steaming. Tommy spilled it all, phone propped like Exhibit A, while Fred filled gaps. Carla's barbs at Christmas. Johnny's growing distance. The way he'd defended David once. Dad's allowed friends. Carla. Only to fold under her pressure. Sarah's face hardened. Nurse's steel. That witch. I've seen her type in the ER charm till they bleed you dry. She pulled out her laptop. Fingers flying. Calls to a lawyer buddy in Lincoln. Research on restitution laws. Nebraska's elder abuse statutes are ironclad. We can nail him, but Tommy waved it off. Not jail. Ansar. Change. His voice cracked slight, betraying the kid beneath the crusader. He wanted his dad back, the one who'd taught him to throw a curveball, not the shadow Carla cast. That night, as Fred and David shared a beer on the porch, crickets chirping prelude to confession, Tommy slipped out to the apartment. Johnny's place was a third-floor walk-up in North Omaha, peeling paint and bass thumping from neighbors, the air thick with fryer grease and despair. Carla was out, thank God, primping for some open-house schmooze. Johnny lounged on the futon, remote in hand, a pizza box open like a gutted fish. Dad. Tommy's voice cut the TV drone. Johnny startled, fumbling the remote. Tom? Shit. Kid. You can't just, how'd you get here? Us. The boy ignored it, stepping forward, eyes locked. Grandpa's broken. You stole his whole future for her condo crap. Johnny's face crumpled, defenses down. It's not that simple. Carla. She sees potential in me. Says I can be somebody. Your grandpa's. Stuck in the past. Tommy's laugh was bitter. Too old. Past? He found love. That. With David. Real love. Not her poison. He thrust the phone forward. Bank alert glaring. Johnny's color drained. How'd you? I'm smart. And you're sloppy. Tommy's small chest heaved. Fix it. Or I tell everyone. The school. Your boss. Her clients. It was a bluff wrapped in truth. The boy had already seeded anonymous posts on Nextdoor. Beware shady realtor in West O. Stealing from family. Vague enough to sting without lawsuit. Johnny reached for him, hand trembling. Tom, please. I'm trying. For us. But the door flew open. Carla. Keys jangling. Eyes narrowing at the scene. What's this? Family meeting without me? Her smile was shark thin. Tommy met it head on. Yeah. About your boyfriend's crime spree. She lunged, not violent, but venomous, snatching the phone, deleting apps with manic swipes. Little liar. Johnny, get him out. But Tommy was faster, reciting from memory her Twitter handle, the posts, gays ruining our school's MAGA, that he'd screenshotted a dozen times over. It's online forever, Carla. All of it. She froze, calculation flickering. Johnny, rising, pulled her back. Enough. Tom's right. I messed up. The argument erupted then, words flying like shrapnel, her accusations of weakness, his defenses crumbling into sobs. Tommy slipped out amid the chaos, heart pounding, texting Fred one word, done. Back home, the bungalow glowed warm, Sarah's rental car still parked crooked. She and David huddled with Fred over takeout lo mein, chopsticks clacking like worry beads. Tommy burst in, face flushed, collapsing into a chair. I told him. She freaked. The adults stared. Then Sarah whooped, pulling him into a side hug. Proud of you, kiddo. Fred's eyes misted. He slid a fortune cookie across. Open it. Tommy cracked it. A small step today leads to a giant leap tomorrow. He grinned. Fitting. Sleep came fitful that night for all. Fred dreamed of the farm, young Johnny chasing fireflies, but the boy dissolved into smoke, Carla's laughter echoing. David held him through it, whispers of I'm here grounding. Across town, Johnny paced the apartment, Carla's ultimatum hanging. Wire it back, or we're done. He stared at the ceiling cracks, Tommy's words looping, real love. By 3 a.m., he logged in, reversing the transfer, $47,000 plus $2,300 in fees. A start. Dawn brought his call to Fred. Voice raw, Dad. Is coming back. I'm sorry. Fred listened, hand over the receiver, David nodding encouragement. That's step one, son. But we talk. All of us. The line went quiet. Then Johnny's whisper. Yeah. God. Yeah. Relief washed Fred like spring rain, but scars lingered. The bank confirmed the reversal by noon. A terse email. Funds restored. Monitoring recommended. Sarah booked tickets home but lingered, baking pies with Tommy apple, lattice perfect while David fixed the swing set, grease under nails, humming Sinatra. Carla's unraveling accelerated. Clients canceled viewings, whispers of that story in the paper, slithering through open houses. Her boss called a meeting. Clean this up, or clean out your desk. She blamed Johnny. Of course. Your psycho kid started this, packing fur coats into her Prius, tires squealing toward Sioux City. Johnny didn't chase. He crashed on a buddy's couch, nursing a black eye from her parting slap, but mostly nursing shame. Tommy's heroism drew eyes. School counselor called Fred. Your grandson's showing real empathy. Ever think therapy? And the community center invited him to speak at a youth panel. Allies in action. He went, nervous in khakis, voice steady. My grandpa loves who he loves. Stealing from that? It's stealing joy. The room, teens with pronouns pinned, elders nodding, erupted in snaps. And Fred, in the back with David, swelled with pride unchecked. Yet undercurrents pulled. Johnny's restitution check bounced. Bank flagged as fraud probe deepened, and he spiraled, hitting bars where old flames flickered but burned cold. One night, he showed at Elm unannounced. Rain-soaked, Tommy answering the door in Spider-Man pajamas. Dad, The man dropped to knees on the welcome mat. I can't fix it alone. Tommy hesitated. Then don't. He fetched Fred, who pulled Johnny inside. Towel and tea. No questions. They talked till midnight, Carla's manipulations, Johnny's buried envy of Fred's late-bloom freedom, the divorce's fresh wounds. David listened silent, hand on Fred's knee, pillar. Morning brought fragile peace. Sarah mediated a family pact, counseling, weekly check-ins. Johnny crashing in the guest room till stable. Blood bends, doesn't break, she said, hugging goodbye. As her taillights faded, Fred turned to Tommy, ruffling hair. You saved us, slugger. The boy shrugged, but eyes shone. Nah. Love did. In the weeks that followed, cracks sealed slow. David and Fred stole away to the cabin, dunes whispering forgiveness, bodies entwining under star-pricked skies. To us, David toasted with bourbon, glasses clinking. Johnny joined therapy, group for family recovery, spilling guts to strangers who nodded without judgment. Tommy thrived, comics giving way to journals, entries on heroes in real life, but by kitsch lurked. Carla, cornered in Sue, spun a counter-narrative online, vicious lies from a bitter ex's spawn, stirring trolls that doxed Tommy's school. Threats trickled in emails to Fred. Keep your fag parade off our streets. The boy shrugged it off. Haters gonna hate. Grandpa. But Fred saw the flinch, the way Tommy clung closer at night. Fall crept into Omaha like a cautious thief, leaves turning crimson and gold along the Missouri River bluffs, mirroring the slow burn of healing in the Harlan home. Fred woke to the scent of David's pancakes, fluffy stacks drowning in syrup from the Iowa State Fair, and the sound of Tommy's laughter filtering from the kitchen, Johnny's gruff chuckle joining in. It was tentative, this new rhythm. Johnny bunked in the guest room, its twin bed creaking under his weight, walls papered in faded florals that Ellen had chosen. He rose early for job hunts, warehouse gigs, anything steady, returning with grease-stained bags from Runza, Nebraska's guilty pleasure of Runzas and chili. Therapy wove through it all like thread in a quilt. The counselor, Dr. Patel, a soft-spoken woman with henna-tattooed hands, met them in a strip mall office smelling of chamomile tea. First session, circle of mismatched chairs, Fred gripping armrests, Johnny picking at cuticles, Tommy doodling superheroes in a notebook, David a steady presence beside. Betrayal isn't a switch, Dr. Patel said, voice even. It's a wound. Who wants to start? Silence stretched. Then Tommy, I hate what Dad did. But I miss him. Johnny's eyes welled. I was scared, Tom, of being nothing. Like Dad. Found something I couldn't. Fred's throat tightened. You could have asked, son. Always. Sessions peeled layers. Johnny's resentment, born of Fred's distant years, really, the closet's chokehold, festering into theft. Carla's role emerged vivid, her homophobia a weapon sharpened on Fox News clips and church potlucks. She called you a predator, Johnny admitted once, voice ash. David's hand found Fred's, squeeze saying not true. Tommy shared too, his fear of losing the real grandpa, the one who'd come out beaming at Pride last June, rainbow pin on his flannel. You're brave, the boy said. Dad can be too. Outside therapy, life stitched forward. David taught Johnny woodworking in the garage, Fred's old tools humming to life, crafting benches for the community center's Pride garden. Measure twice, cut once, David grunted, sawdust flying, and Johnny nodded, sweat beading, a bridge forming in the chips. Tommy tagged along, hammer in hand too big, nailing slats with determination. Evenings, the four played cards at the kitchen table, cribbage, Fred's game, bets in M&Ms, laughter bubbling when Tommy cheated shameless. Blood or not, David quipped once, pegging points. You're all Harlans, stubborn as mules. Romance bloomed quiet for Fred and David. After sessions, they'd detour to Fontanelle Forest, trails winding through oaks where cardinals flashed red warnings. One crisp afternoon, leaves crunching under boots, David stopped at a overlook, river glittering below. Marry me, Fred. Not question. Statement. Ring pulled from pocket. Simple gold band engraved horizon. Fred's yes was a sob, pulling David close, kiss tasting of salt and forever. They wed in June, backyard ceremony under the oak. Sarah officiating in a sundress, Tommy scattering petals with mischief. Vows echoed. In shadows and light, I choose you. Johnny stood best man. Tyascu, voice cracking on the toast, to second chances, but Carla's shadow lengthened. From Sioux City, she lawyered up, countersuit drafted, defamation, emotional distress, from Tommy's slanderous posts. Her filing hit the World Herald. Twisted narrative, jilted realtor sues grieving family over fabricated theft, stirring sympathy from her MAGA circles. Trolls amplified, hashtags fake gay scam trending local, death threats pinging Fred's email. Pedo enablers deserve the rope. Tommy's school went lockdown after a tip about a bomb hoax. But cops swarmed, kids whispering freak family. Fred's rage simmered. He paced the den, David trailing. That woman's poison. We fight, but Dr. Patel counseled breath. React from strength, not fear. Tommy, overhearing, logged off socials, but not before archiving her digital trail, screenshots of racist rants, client complaints buried in Yelp reviews. Evidence, he said, folder named Justice. Johnny, gutted, drove to Sue unbidden, confronting her at a coffee shop, rain lashing windows. End this, Carla. For Tom, she sneered over latte foam. You chose them over me. Now watch me burn it all. But cracks showed, her eyes darting, voice wavering. She was losing. License suspended pending investigation. Friends ghosting. The Chow Trio crashed mid-July. Heat wave baking the plains. Air thick as betrayal. Carla's lawyer subpoenaed Tommy for deposition. Harassment by minor. And the boy, summoned to a sterile conference room downtown, faced her across oak. Her smile venom. You ruined my life, kid. Tommy, legs swinging under table, met her gaze. You ruined ours first. His testimony, calm, factual, detailed the theft. Her slurs overheard at dinners. Your dad's a disgrace, Johnny. That queer friend? Abomination. The lawyer blanched. Carla's face purpled. Johnny, in the hall, overheard, storming in. Enough. I recorded you, Carla. Every hate-filled rant, bluff, half voicemails saved. Her voice dripping disdain. Dump the old fag or you're done. Court erupted. Judge, a no-nonsense woman from the bench, reviewed exhibits, bank logs, posts, recordings. This isn't civil. It's criminal. Carla's suit crumbled. Countersuit filed against her for fraud, slander. Bailiffs escorted her out, cuffs glinting under fluorescence. Johnny testified next. Voice steady. I stole from love, thinking it weakness. It was mine. Tears fell, but head high. Fred watched from gallery. David's hand anchor, pride swelling like the Missouri in flood. Aftermath swirled. Carla plea bargained. Restitution doubled. Community service at a shelter, irony biting. Her realtor license revoked. She vanished to Florida. Whispers of a cousin's realty firm. Johnny's charges dropped with full repayment, but probation loomed. Therapy mandatory. The family exhaled, but scars itched. Tommy's nightmares returned. Carla's face morphing to monsters. Fred rocking him in the armchair, humming lullabies Ellen sang. She's gone. Slugger. We're here. Summer waned. Pride Month fading to fireflies. Fred and David honeymooned local, overnight at the cabin. Stars blanket, leaving Johnny and Tommy to fort building in the yard. Like old times, Johnny said, gluing cardboard turrets. Tommy nodded. Better. Honest. Back home, they gathered for barbecue, ribs smoking on the grill, neighbors drifting over, the lesbian couple from next door, the trans barista from the diner, turning it communal. Laughter rang. Beers clinked. Tommy's stories of courtroom capers drawing hoots. Yet Nan Van deepened in quiet. One evening, Johnny found Fred in the garage, polishing tools. Dad. About Mom. Did you love her? Fred paused. Rag still. Like family. Deep. But David? That's soul. Johnny nodded, throat working. I get it now. Wish I'd seen sooner. Embrace followed. Awkward but real. Years melting. Tommy watched from doorway. Journal open, heroes forgive. Villains run. Fall brought harvest moons. Corn mazes where Tommy led the way. Flashlight beam cutting dark. Fred and David walked hand in hand behind. Rings catching light. We made it, David murmured. Fred squeezed. Thanks to a 13-year-old general. Ahead, laughter echoed. Johnny hoisting Tommy on shoulders. Maze walls whispering secrets kept. But by Kitch's echo lingered subtle. Johnny's relapse hit October. Anniversary of the theft. Bar crawl ending in cuffs. DUI minor but damning. Courtroom again. Judge stern. Second chance squandered? Tommy testified. He's trying, Your Honor. Like I tried with him. Probation extended. AA meetings added. But Johnny emerged humbled, crashing harder into family. No more running, he vowed. Tommy's hand in his. Winter loomed. First snow dusting elm like forgiveness. Fred shoveled the drive. David beside. Breaths clouding. Inside. Hot cocoa steamed. Marshmallows bobbing. Stories swapped. Ellen's recipes. David's San Fran escapades. Johnny's wild youth. Tommy's dreams of journalism. Exposing truths. Like you guys. Laughter wove it. Threads strong. In that warmth, the Harlans found grace. Not flawless, but forged. Love, stolen once, reclaimed eternal under Nebraska's endless vault. Winter clamped Omaha in iron. Winds howling off the Platte like scorned lovers, blanketing Elm Street in drifts that buried sins under white purity. The bungalow hunkered, chimney puffing wood smoke, David's doing, logs split crisp from the backyard pile. Inside, holiday lights twinkled defiant against frost-laced windows. Tommy's handiwork. Strands draped over Ellen's hutch, ornaments from thrift stores gleaming like captured stars. Fred watched from his armchair, mug of spiked cider warming palms, as the boy wrestled tangled cords, cursing mild under breath. Language, soldier, Fred teased, but eyes soft. Tommy grinned, sheepish. Sorry, Grandpa. This elf's got opinions. Johnny hovered in the kitchen. Apron askew, Ellen's old one, flour dusted from pie dough, attempting Sarah's pecan recipe phoned in from Denver. AA meetings had carved humility into him, lines around eyes deeper but clearer, the fog of Carla's grip lifting slow. Smells like defeat, he joked, poking crust, but stayed the course, rolling dough with focus born of amends. David joined, elbow deep in brine for the turkey, their banter easy. Pass the sage, Harlan Jr. Can't have your old man outshining. Johnny laughed. Genuine, a sound Fred hadn't heard since Little League triumphs. Christmas Eve dawned brittle, sky-leaden, but the Harlans armored with ritual. They drove to the community center, volunteering at the shelter dinner, Fred carving bird, David slinging mashed potatoes, Johnny and Tommy ferrying plates to the down and out. Faces there mirrored their own scars. A trans kid with haunted eyes, an elder couple holding hands under the table, whispers of lost homes. Tommy chatted with a boy his age, run away with a backpack of regrets, sharing cookies swiped from the kitchen. Family's not blood, he said, crumbs flying. It's who stays, Fred overheard, chest tight, nodding to David across the steam. Night fell soft, snow whispering benedictions. Back home, tree aglow, topped by a star Tommy crafted from foil. They exchanged gifts wrapped humble. Socks for Fred, whittled bird for David, comic signed by a local artist for Tommy, toolbox for Johnny. Build something lasting, David inscribed. Then, the reading, Ellen's Bible, dog-eared, passed to Tommy for the nativity verses. His voice, clear as bell, filled the room. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. Johnny shifted, eyes distant, Carla's ghost in Christmas past, her war on Christmas rants, but joined the chorus of Silent Night, baritone rusty but true. New Year's brought pivot. Sarah visited, kids in tow, nieces giggling at Tommy's snowman army, turning the bungalow cacophony. Family dinner sprawled, lasagna bubbling, wine flowing cautious for Johnny. Talk turned deep over tiramisu, Sarah's hospital shifts, the microaggressions she shielded patients from, Johnny's warehouse job, steady if soul-numbing, dreams of community college redux, maybe social work, help folks like us. Fred shared cabin tales, David's hand warm on knee under table. Tommy piped up, I'm writing a book. About us. The real story. Eyes rounded the table. Not for pity. For power. Inspiration struck from ashes. The World Herald ran a follow-up, family rebounds after fraud scandal, framed positive. Tommy's whistleblower angle heroized. Offers trickled. Podcast invites. A youth advocacy group wanting his voice. But by Kitsch's underbelly stirred. Carla, from Florida exile, resurfaced viral. TikTok rants. Victim of woke mob. Makeup flawless. Tears scripted. Views soared. Donations pouring from echo chambers. She sued again, Johnny this time. Alienation of affection. Claiming his desertion for the fag family wrecked her. Subpoenas landed Christmas week, shattering the idol. Johnny cracked. That night, after Sarah's departure, he vanished, phone off, truck gone. Fred paced, calling bars, panic rising like bile. David brewed tea, steady, he'll circle back. Tommy, Wide-eyed. Blamed self. My post started this. Fred pulled him close. No. Slugger. Her hate did. Dawn brought Johnny, stumbling in snow-dusted, bottle empty in passenger seat. Couldn't face it. That. Her lawyers. They're painting me the villain. Collapse followed. Sobs on the rug. Fred holding. David fetching blankets. You're not, Fred murmured. You're ours. Crisis forged steel. They lawyered up, pro bono from the LGBTQ+ Center. A firebrand attorney named Reyes with tattoos peeking from cuffs. Prep sessions in the den. Mock cross-exams. Tommy role-playing Carla's snark to laughter. Objection. Your Honor. Bullshit. The boy quipped, defusing tension. Johnny open veins in affidavits. Carla's control. The slaps hidden as passion. Her homophobic ultimatums. Said I'd burn if I didn't steal, he wrote, ink smudging tears. Evidence mounted. Her voicemails. Financial trails linking her to shady flips. Stolen elder funds funneled through shells. Trial loomed February. Courthouse squat in downtown chill. Gallery packed. Supporters from the center. Sarah flown in. Tommy in ill-fitting suit. Fidgeting. Carla took the stand first. Poise cracked. Extensions limp. Voice shrill. That boy lied. Johnny was mine till his father's perversion pulled him. Gasps rippled. Judge Ramos rapped gavel. Reyes crossfired. MS. Hargrove. Your tweets calling LGBTQ+ folks degenerates. Care to explain. Screenshots projected. Room hissing. Carla floundered. Free speech. But the recording sealed. Her voice. Post-theft glee. We got the old man's blood money. Screw his fairy ass. Johnny's turn broke him open. I loved her once. Thought she loved me. Pause. Water sip. But she hated my dad for who he is. Made me hate myself too. Tears tracked. Stole to prove I was man enough. Biggest regret. Jury diverse. Omaha's mosaic. Leaned in. Tommy's deposition. Via video for his age. Stole breaths. She called Grandpa a monster. But monsters steal joy. We stole it back. Standing ovation as he finished. Though decorum held claps. Verdict dropped swift. Suit dismissed. Sanctions on Carla. $50,000 in fees. Restraining order. She fled the stand. Sobbing theatrical. Cameras flashing. Outside. Snow-swirled confetti. Supporters hugging Johnny fierce. Free, he whispered to Fred. Embrace bone crush. Tommy high-fived Reyes. Team win. David, ever anchor, herded them to Orsi's for Italian cannoli celebration. Champagne pops. Spring thawed with vengeance. Tulips pushing dirt defiant. The Harlan wounds scarred pretty. Johnny enrolled at Metro. Night classes in psych. Tommy's book outline shared at a library reading. Grandpa's Horizon. A Gay American Redemption. Fred and David Garden the Pride Plot. Benches dedicated. For allies who fight. Carla's empire crumbled. Disbarred equivalents in realty. Crowdfunding flops amid boycotts. Last whisper. Arrest in Tampa for fraud. Unrelated but karmic. Yet Nan Van bloomed in mundane. May. Tommy's birthday. 13 no more. 14 gangly. Cake layered chocolate. Wishes for more adventures. Johnny gifted a laptop. For your stories. Kid. Fred and David. A telescope. Stars don't judge. Night under dome. Lenses trained on Orion. Family sprawled blankets. Tales weaving constellations personal. Summer hummed return. cabin trips, dunes golden, where Fred and David renewed vows casual, sand toes, rings redipped in river. Johnny brought a date, shy bookstore clerk named Mia, kind eyes no venom. Tommy approved. She laughs real, barbecues on Elm drew neighbors, potlucks of pierogies and ribs, stories swapped till dusk. One dusk, Plattside, Fred cast line, David beside. Think Johnny's okay? Hook set. David nodded. Healing's a river. Bends, but flows, upstream. Johnny taught Tommy fly fishing, casts arcing graceful. Laughter carried, binding. In autumn's hush, Tommy's journal closed, we paid. But love cashed the check. Harlan's, whole under harvest moon. Autumn's palette deepened Omaha's veins. Amber fields stretching to horizons where silos pierce sky like steadfast prayers. The bungalow on Elm stood sentinel. Porch swing creaking under Fred and David's weight. Cider mugs steaming against chill. 2 years post-theft. Scars faded to silver threads, woven into the fabric of days. Fred, 66 now, silver threading his temples fuller, ran fingers through David's hair, grown shaggy from neglect. Get a trim, old man, he teased, but pull was gentle, kiss following soft as leaf fall. Tommy, 15, voice cracking mid-sentence, limbs outpacing coordination, bounded from the house, backpack slung, soccer cleats dangling. Practice, don't wait up, dinner's pizza night. He fist-bumped Johnny on the steps, who leaned against the rail, coffee in hand, uniform crisp from the warehouse shift. Score one for me, champ. The boy dashed to his bike, tires crunching gravel, vanishing toward the fields where goals loomed under floodlights. Johnny watched till gone, then joined the swing, settling with a sigh. Kid's a force. Like his aunt. David chuckled, passing the thermos. Or his grandfather. That trial testimony? Gold. Johnny's eyes shadowed brief. Carla's echo. Faint now but cleared. College suited him. Psych major. Internships at the crisis center, where he counseled folks tangled in abuse's web. Helping others untie knots I ignored. He'd say in group shares, voice steady. Mia stuck too. Her quiet strength a counter to tempests past. Weekends, she joined potlucks, debating books with Sarah's kids over pie. Fred sipped. Gaze on the oak Ellen's tree, branches gnarled wise. Leaves swirled eddy, memory stirring. Her last days, hand in his, whisper, live true, Fred. For both, he tried, faltering then soaring. David sensed the drift, thumb tracing Fred's knuckle. Penny, just grateful for the mess that mended us. Johnny nodded. Rare vulnerability. Me too. Thought I'd lost you all. Winter's grip loosened to spring's promise. But by Kitch's final whisper came subtle. A letter, manila envelope postmarked Florida. Carla, from county jail, probation violated on old charges. Parole board appeal, character witnesses requested. Her note to Johnny, one last chance. Testify for me. For us. He burned it in the sink. Ashes swirling down drain like exorcism. No, he told the group next meet. Hands steady. She took enough. Tommy's book launched that May. Stolen Stars. A grandson's fight for family. Self-published. Covers embossed with a rainbow horizon. Launch at the library. Folding chairs filled. Fred beaming front row. David snapping pics. Tommy, in button-down, Read excerpt. The kitchen discovery. Note sting. His digital rebellion. Applause thundered. Signings followed, fans young and old. One elder gripping his hand. You gave me words for my silence. Royalties trickled. But the gift was voice. School assemblies. TEDx youth talk. Justice isn't blind. It's a kid with a phone. Summer scorched. But the Harlans cooled at the cabin. Dune's sanctuary. Tents pitched. Fires crackling. Stories orbiting flames. Johnny shared Mia's ring plans. Nerves jangling. Tommy grilled on best man duties. Fred and David slipped away to the rise. Watching Perseides streak. Our meteor, David murmured. Arm round waist. Fred leaned in. Shooting true. Below. Laughter rose. Johnny's tales of psych pranks. Tommy's soccer triumphs. Fall brought harvest fair. Omaha's riot of rides and ribbons. The family roamed midway. Cotton candy sticky. Ferris wheel creaking ascent. The top. City sprawled mosaic. Lights winking like confidences. Tommy. Between Johnny and Fred. Best view ever. Descent spun sweet. Ground firm. Yet Nan Van's core pulsed in quiet. One November eve. Snow first dusting. Fred found Johnny in the garage. Tools idle. Can't sleep. Johnny nodded. Wrench turning aimless. Dreamt of her. Not hate, pity. Fred clapped shoulder. Growth, son. That's the pay. Embrace lingered. Then Johnny pulled back. Eyes clear. Love you, Dad. All of you. Thanksgiving sprawled bountiful. Sarah's clan. Mia's folks. Neighbors crowding tables extended on sawhorses. Turkey carved. Toasts raised. To Ellen's memory. David's horizon. Tommy's fire. Johnny's return. Laughter layered over grace. Pie slices divvied. Winter solstice. Longest night. They gathered den, fire roaring. Cocoa laced. Tommy read his new chapter. Epilogue of Horizons Endless. Voices joined. Song weaving. This little light of mine. Candles flickered. Shadows danced banished. Spring equinox. 2 years post-verdict. Carla's appeal denied, her final gambit dust. News clipped. Filed away. The Harlans planted the Pride Garden anew. Perennials for endurance. Lavender for love. Marigolds for memory. Summer solstice. Longest day. Wedding bells for Johnny and Mia. Backyard simple. Tommy ring bearer. Fred walking Mia's aisle. David officiating vows. In storms and sun. Choose each other. Dance followed. Under string lights. Tommy twirling Sarah. Johnny and Fred slow-stepping awkward laugh. Autumn equinox. Balance restored. Tommy's college app sent journalism. Dream sharp. Omaha U. Or bust. He declared. Backpack stuffed essays. Winter solstice again. Cycle full. Family circle tight. Bungalow aglow. Swing creaking tales untold. In that rhythm, seasons turning. Loves enduring, the Harlans paid forward. Pensions not just dollars, but legacies of light. Fred. Gazing stars from porch. David's head on shoulder. Whispered. We made them pay. But grace? That's the real win. Below. Elm slept peaceful. Under America's forgiving dome. And so, horizons called eternal.